I'm the threat of family fire. And as long as your guns aren't stored securely, I'll be there. Protect your family. Secure all your guns. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
You ever notice how most helpful information always seems to show up just a little too late? Like, oh, the deadline was yesterday. Or,
you know you could have saved money if you'd done that earlier.
Timing matters. That's why Fayetteville PWC wants you to know the summertime of use schedule begins April 1st. With smart timing, you can lower your energy costs by running appliances like washers, dryers, and dishwashers outside of peak hours. And by adjusting your thermostat just a few degrees higher between 3 and 6 in the afternoon, you can save even more. It's a simple shift that helps reduce strain on the energy grid, supports a more sustainable future, and keeps power reliable for everyone in our community. Because at Fayetteville PWC, we're committed to being environmentally responsible, dependable, and deeply invested in the place we all call home. Timing matters, and smart timing means savings. Learn more at Start Saving at faypwc.com.
I'm Attorney Alan Rogers of the Rogers Law Firm, and I stand on the strong moral principles of my parents, the late Bishop Zach Rogers Jr. and First Lady Mary Rogers. I practiced law for over 30 years, serving this community and surrounding communities from Cumberland County, Scotland County, and throughout North Carolina. We have a proven track record of putting 12 in the box, trying our cases, and bringing home victories. We've settled as well as gotten verdicts of millions of dollars, and we'll do the same for you. So give us a call at 910-433-0833, the Rogers Firm. With a proven track record, let us deliver for you.
And we're back again. Producing this morning, we have Reverend Dr. Carl Brinkley and the Reverend Dr. Paul Matthews. So now, we're not talking sports necessarily, but let me make mention of this. They say that the defense of the Dallas Cowboys is moving. They're going to a 3-4 instead of a 4-3. So you did hear that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Dio, had you heard that?
No. It's all about personnel.
Right. But it's saying that if you shift that like that, everything changes now, on the defense. I don't know that much about that kind of thing. I know Reverend Paul, I was thinking he was all hard hitting and everything. Then he shared some bad news with me yesterday, I believe it was. And,
what's the bad news?
He left Robeson County. He was all county, and he got to Winston-Salem State. I'm not picking on him. And he saw how big the guys over there, and he got scared. I tell you, how could you be like Marcus Wall, man? Marcus Wall, I'm bigger than he is. And he wasn't scared, man. He was like, tough. Look. But he said, I wasn't as big then as I am now. Come on, man.
Marcus Wall. Marcus Wall, what they call, was a scat back. The Marcus Wall quickness, it's quick and he was fast. That's why he was able to play at Carolina. But he was good back in the day.
But he played in the pros. He said, I didn't care. I mean, he's a little guy. He said, I go up and I hit him. And as big as this guy is here now, he keep trying to say I wasn't that big, but he was almost 200 pounds. That is big. Whatever.
Well, to you, that's big. That's not 200 pounds. Is not that big, is it? No.
Okay, all right. I'll leave him alone. I'm not trying to call him out. Too bad. Anyway, look, going forward, two guys. Deal. Back to you.
What we're segueing into next, Troy?
Well, one thing is that, and this is a continuing piece, Phil Berger is still behind, and it doesn't look like he's going to catch up.
Yeah,
That's very
and
interesting.
his challenger was upset because I didn't know Dave Bullock was over. Dave Bullock has something to do with overseeing recounts, and the challenger was upset. But I don't think it's nothing. I don't think Dave is doing anything
Right.
improper. But he I don't want to say he donated to Phil Berger, but he has something to do with Phil Berger that the other guy brought up.
Sure.
But I think
It's a very close. How many votes is it now? It was 2, and then it was 20-something.
I think it's something like 26 or something now. But
Wow.
the military votes had not come in, and so it looks like there may be a huge upset there.
Wow, he's
Well,
I don't
wait a
know
minute.
age.
Here's my thing. Now, this is the exact thing that President Trump didn't like. He didn't like votes being what? We're 7 days after the election over with, and we're still counting votes. Now the GOP controls North Carolina now, and the board. What's going on here? Now that's a red county. I don't understand it.
Well,
Yeah.
they may control, but they don't control like general statutes. They haven't changed all the general statutes when it comes to elections. You know what I mean? When you have absentee ballots and all those other things out there, and these, they got to bring them in. They got to count them. When something is that close, we don't think about that unless it's a close race. These things have been in place for years, but when something is tight and it's a vote or two difference in it, that tends to happen. And it's not just North Carolina; it's everywhere.
Yeah, but this is what President Trump has been harping against: votes being counted late. And so. Here's my point: I don't think it's nothing nefarious here. Them doing the count based on what you told me. That could happen. It's a possibility that could happen in November, and it could swing the balance in the local elections, in the Senate races, in the congressional races.
Yeah, well, I think is that and I don't necessarily see the tie to the president, but still, I'm saying is that what they were talking about, what went on in Georgia, is an entirely different situation. I mean, I've watched those hearings. This was not about absentee ballots and things like that. There were other things that were going on. If you paid attention to that they're talking about that are contrary.
Is that still
to,
going on, Troy? Is the case still going on? Are there hearings still going on? I just haven't heard much about it lately.
Yeah,
There's nothing to hear about.
Yeah, I believe somebody's probably going to get charged in some of that stuff. What they were doing is different right here. Look, they had a ballot, and that the ballot has the card stock and all of that is on the ballot. But they had copies of things clearly, so that all you had to do was fill it out and sign it, and it would count as a vote, which would allow somebody to cheat if they wanted to. You see what I'm saying?
So let me just ask you a question. What I don't understand, Troy, is I thought they, and again, please correct me, I thought they went through this with Raffensperger. Everything was, they found, of course, there's some issues, but nothing major. So why this time why are they spending all this time and money again? Did they find something else? I haven't paid attention to it.
Well,
There's nothing to pay attention to. It's Fulton County. It's Fulton County, and Trump's been out to Fulton County. They're in Phoenix, Arizona right now. Here's what I say with all these charges with the federal government. I want to see the attorney who's going to put their name on a dotted line and subject themselves to having their license pulled. Then I'll start believing it. Nobody's been charged yet.
Wait, well, he asked me, so let me see the answer, okay? Because I've been watching, I've been paying attention to it. Look, Fulton County they're being called up before the state board for clearly violating the laws within the state of Georgia. Like I said, you know, the card stock. So look, if you have a ballot, when we have a ballot, the card stock, meaning the size of the, you know, the thickness of the card, when they go through all of the stuff that they've been going through, it was just like a piece of paper. You see what I'm saying? Like a ream of paper. Some of those votes were on that.
It wasn't the official stock.
Right. It was thousands of them, which would lead somebody to believe that something was wrong with that. You know what I mean? How can you count that vote when, as an official vote, when it's on a piece of paper that is not an official piece of paper? And then they had a situation where there were a bunch of stuff that was run off on a copier, so to speak, and all somebody had to do was just make some changes or whatever, or sign off on some stuff, and it would appear as a vote. Now, and on top of that, the last thing is this right here. You asked what was different from before. When they asked them to give up this information prior to right after the 2020 election, they wouldn't do it. And then the Fulton County folk actually went before a judge and asked the judge if they could destroy the information because they didn't have enough space to keep it, which was suspect. You know, I mean, you got to watch this thing, man. It's just like straight up kangaroo court. But this is an official hearings. You know, if you watch these hearings, you're like, I can't believe these people did that.
Well, I know what evidence Fulton County did have. They had that famous telephone call, and I know what the elements of election interference is in Fulton County, Georgia, based on the Georgia law. If anybody tries to coerce or pressure elected officials, it's a felony.
Well,
that was the
I don't agree with that, and evidently the Supreme Court doesn't agree with it either now.
They reached the Supreme Court because he got kicked out.
I'm talking though. I'm gonna let you talk. Let me finish. I'm saying is that the court doesn't agree with that. You have your own opinion. I never agree with it. You know that because I don't think you have your elements there. And so he said what he said, but that wasn't a crime. And so, you know, and the courts agree with that now. And so as of yesterday, as of yesterday, I'm finishing up. Hold on a second. As of yesterday, the Fulton County DA, Fannie Willis, right now, they got to pay that money back to them.
Yeah. Here's the deal. The elements of crime are elements of crime, and anybody can read it. It never reached the Supreme Court because Fannie Willis was involved with another person, improper relationship, which has nothing to do with elements of crime. We have crooked DAs. We have convicted felons who take plea deals to testify against other folks during trials. President Trump called two public officials, and he told the man, I need exactly X amount of votes. Can you find them? That's against, he might not have been charged. It still lines up with the elements. I'm reading Georgia statute. It doesn't change it. Of course he didn't get.
I don't see how that was. I mean, if I ask somebody to find some votes, I don't see how that's a crime. But if you've been looking at the hearings, let a black man call. Let President Obama run in a couple of years and call the state of Texas and tell somebody, can they get some more votes? That's how it worked out for him. Well, I mean, I don't even want to get into President Obama because he actually has done some stuff, but I believe it's going to come out. But the challenge is this right here, though. I'm just saying is that if you've been following the Fannie Willis hearings trial, too, because that's been live on the TV as well, I believe you will have a better understanding of this. But now, if you haven't been following it, you know, you still stuck on what? On 2020. Have you been watching what's been going on when the information's been coming out in 2026? Is my question.
Well, Troy, they just made a law that if you get malicious prosecution, you can sue the state. Georgia just made that law. So they're going to make a retroactive law that goes back so all those defendants with Trump can sue the government.
No, I mean,
I'm not surprised.
that's what they did
do.
to him. They did the same thing to him. They changed the law and made retroactive laws to charge him. DL, you know that. I think you know that.
Georgia did.
No, New
Not
York.
Georgia.
New York.
Okay, we're not talking about that. We're talking because we're bringing up Fulton County and all these other metropolitan black areas. Phoenix, Arizona, he didn't win, so now we want to go back and litigate that stuff. It's ridiculous.
I don't think it is. I mean, it's right here. If they did something wrong, and I believe that you said that Fannie Willis, it was just about her and the relationship she had with the guy that she hired. It wasn't just that. There was collusion in that. That guy went to D.C., and he was actively working with the Clintons and the Obamas and all of them folk up there. All of that came out during the trial because they followed his emails and his phone calls and all that other stuff. I mean, it was, look, you talking about a conspiracy, my God.
Okay.
Why do you need to do all that?
Hey, if they could listen, the case is not dismissed. You just won't have another prosecutor in Georgia that will take the case. So it's dead. It's actually dead because they excluded Fulton County from prosecuting it. So the Georgia Supreme Court could pick another district attorney to do it, but they know that's not going to happen and whatnot. So, hey, that's just American
They're making them
justice.
give back millions of dollars. If you've been following this deal, you do know that the Fulton County DA's office is run by this lady. Right now, they are under a court order to pay money back to all these people, something like 18 or 19 people.
Well, of course, Troy, look, of course they are. Black folks only make up 13% of the population, and Fulton County doesn't run Atlanta, Georgia. You got old white guys that do that, and they're mostly GOP.
I'm not talking about black and white here. I'm just talking about what the court has ordered that DA's office to do. That's facts.
Of course. That is facts because they have the power to do it, even if you don't agree with it. But, hey, we'll see how it rolls out. But, next time, folks, when we start stealing elections, how about take the Senate? Democrats take the Senate seat because that's where you get a lot more power when you have the Senate. Just stop stealing presidential elections. Just take the Senate with you.
Well, my thing is that's right here. So look, all of the things, and there are other things too, because when Trump said they spied on him, they literally did spy on him, because now you know that the FBI, the head of the FBI now, they found documents somewhere inside of the Hoover building and with handwriting on them. So that's why Comer is under indictment right now, Jay. The thing is, he said he didn't do something, and they have found evidence, whereas that
You're talking about Comey?
Yeah, Comey, right.
Comey, yeah.
He said he went before Congress and said, I didn't do that. And they asked him
he's not a very
plain
trustworthy
question.
person.
So what now?
But I don't think Comey is, the most trustworthy. He's sort of been very wishy-washy with answers. But can I just go back to one thing? I just what you all were talking about regarding Georgia. My only issue is this. I don't disagree with anything anyone has said. The problem, though, is when we talk about issues with voting, they had like 60 cases with voter fraud, and the Republicans won none. That's just one issue. There is voter fraud. Voter fraud happens every single race, but it's been such a small percentage, it doesn't have any impact on the election. So if you have 800 idiots that vote illegally, which is terrible, it's never shown that there's been any impact on any of the elections. So all I'm saying is I'm not doubting there were problems in Atlanta, but it's probably a minuscule amount that doesn't have any impact on the election. So I'm just personally not sure why such a fight about this stuff. Fonnie Willis, I don't have much confidence in her because of that affair she had. Just terrible judgment. Once again, do I think she's unethical? Yeah, maybe a little bit. But to me, the issue is it's a very small. It's
maybe
a very
a little bit,
small
huh?
amount. Yeah. A little bit. Oh no, I think she. The one thing about Fonnie Willis, she and some of her fundraising efforts, she was going so much against Trump. That's not a good look for the DA to be doing that. I have real issues with her. But getting back to the real issue is there's really not been any issues in this country that I've seen on the national level of voter fraud. That's just my opinion.
But here's my thing, though, Jay and DL. Look, that's the whole thing, because it's been so sophisticated that it is difficult to convict somebody of. Or either, you say, well, I don't think it's that much of it. Yeah, but I personally believe it's a lot more of it than people give credence to, even that has happened here in Cumberland County. I believe that there have been areas that they've done things. I know one precinct, if you follow the elections, they always turn in their numbers last. Always turn their numbers in last. And I'm talking about in our community right here. And now people, some people are deceased, but some are still alive, and they're admitting to people that they made stuff up. They looked at an election and they saw what something was, and then they changed it. So I'm just saying that how do you look at this stuff, and so you go to sleep at night and you're 500,000 votes ahead, and you wake up the next day and you're 500 votes behind. I'm just saying
because they count right. I hear
I'm saying, and then they're counting stuff. I mean, if you guys have been following this, you got to have a problem with that. They said, oh, we found these mail-in ballots. Oh, we found 20,000 of them, and they were in a warehouse. I mean, who wouldn't have a problem with that? Come on.
Well, I have to. You know what I'm going to do is, to be fair, Troy, I'm going to do a little bit of reading up on it because I want to talk about next show. Because I feel like I'm at a disadvantage. I have not been following the case. I'm just going on a national level.
So, on what case, Jay? What case you talking about, Jay?
What's going on? What Troy is talking about? There's some at Fulton County, the Fonnie Willis case or whatever. They're trying to figure out if there's been
in Pennsylvania. Look,
wrongdoing during the. Yeah,
all of these swing. I mean, a lot of these swing states. You know what I mean? So, if somebody just finds 50,000 ballots in bags that they claim that were caught up in the mail, and it's a week after the election. I mean, really? You going to count that? And you going to change an election based on that? I mean, that kind of stuff was happening. It actually happened.
But hey, Troy, real quickly, before we get off the air, I want to hit two subjects. The shooting in the Michigan Synagogue in West Bloomfield. Thank God that the only person that's deceased is the deranged driver. And then I think you may have had a lone wolf attack at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia, where you had a retired lieutenant colonel who was an ROTC instructor, was murdered yesterday. So, folks, when we say soft targets, we're talking about, schools. Most of our schools used to be soft targets, but now you can't get in schools with those cameras and showing your driver's license and on a need-to basis. So soft targets, Troy, you correct me if I'm wrong, soft targets we consider like churches and certain daycares, correct?
Right. Yeah.
So I just say this, folks, be vigilant out there because America is in a conflict or war, and we have some bad actors. Regardless of how you feel about what's going on in Iran, we don't need folks over here doing what's been going on for the last 2 days. I'm not want to get into talking about the Iran conflict. I'm more concerned about folks because they're not discriminating. They don't care what color you are when they come into these buildings because they only got one time to go out for blaze of glory. And if you're in their way, no matter what color you are, they're taking you out. So pray for those individuals, especially the colonel that was killed in Norfolk yesterday.
Sure. Well, look, let me announce this right here because I sent this to you guys. Now, you guys know this was on March the 2nd when Detroit, a Michigan State Representative, Karen Whitsett.
I saw this.
Now,
yeah.
Look, because I'm telling you, the media is not going to tell you why this woman's a Democrat. It's a congresswoman. She said that she left citing spiritual reasons. And she said, because she's a Democrat, she said she can't handle it anymore. She said specifically citing issues regarding abortion, homosexuality, and gender identity. Now, I'm telling you, the media is not going to say nothing about that. Right. Now, mind you, when if this had been on the other side, it'd been on the front page. You know that. You know it. Come on. You have to admit that. You know that.
Yeah. Hey, listen. And folks, my aunt didn't understand what I was saying yesterday when I tell her legacy media. I say legacy media because she's like 15 years older than me. I say that's CBS, NBC, and ABC. You can throw CNN because they've been around since the 80s. And Fox News came along in the late 80s. I call those big five legacy media, and 4 of them are left and probably considered far left, and they kind of control the narrative because they
do.
But
you know, they're not going to.
They should report the news.
Can I say this thing? This is really important, guys. Changing Larry Ellison, who owns Paramount and is trying to get this big takeover of Netflix, also owns CBS. Barry Weiss, who is now the head of CBS, is a far further right-leaning. You have a lot of people on the left that are very upset that Barry Weiss is now the head because they've let people go, people have quit, and they want to get it to be more neutral, more right-leaning.
Sure.
Larry Ellison, who is about to purchase, there's going to be more of that in the media to try to even things out, in other words, because you're right, there's definitely a leaning toward the left, and you got a guy like Larry Ellison who's very powerful, very rich. He's saying, no, we're gonna change things up a little bit. And the biggest area, the one station they want to change is CNN. They don't like CNN, and they want to change CNN. So just
but
wanted to
look
add
here.
that.
Gotta go, guys. Our time is up. Thank you all so much. Appreciate your calls. Thank you for listening in, tuning in. Stick around. Top of the hour, we're going to have Terry Thomas coming in, and she's going to be talking about her shing ding, my word, and at the top of the hour. We'll be right back for more.